What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel, and thanks for tuning in. Do me a favor, hit the like button. I'm just trying to help people, that's all. Manage through life with a little tips, advice, and things that I have learned over the years. If you are in your, I'll say 20s and 30s, but particularly in your 30s, and you are considering buying a house, I want to say to you, of course, you know your financial situation and everything. So, assuming that your financial situation as of right now has you in a position where you are able to buy a house. And I'm just going to use this number just to set up what I'm trying to say. And you are 35 years old. I highly recommend that you go ahead and buy that house now. Now, listen to me. I know that the economy is turned upside down right now. And I know that at the making of this video, the SNAP benefits, the government shutdown, federal employees being furloughed, AI taking all kind of jobs, Amazon letting people off, other jobs letting people. I know. And so you'll say, Professor X, in the middle of all of this, why are you? Because I still know that in the midst of even crisis, we still have to look forward, we still have to prepare, and we still have to make wise decisions. So this is why I'm making this video, in particular to young men and women who are in their 30s. Let me put you on a little piece of information here. There are many men and women who have reached the age where they're able to pull Social Security retirement age. I know right now at 30, 35, you may not be thinking about it, but in a few years, you will be. There are many senior citizens right now in retirement age that are not able to stop working. There are many. When you see some of them at Walmart, when you see some of them at Food Lion, when you see some of them at these retail stores, when you see some of them pushing carts, and you think, and it is good to keep working, to keep the bones moving, and to have something to do, to have some sense of purpose. But I'm telling you, the majority of them are not just out there because they want to be out there. It's such a delight for them to be there. They are there because they cannot afford to stop working. When you see elderly people, 70 years old, mid 60s, out here working, they will tell you they have to work. Why? They may not go into detail, but I'm going to give you one or two things that has happened in their life that has caused them to continue to work. The number one reason why senior citizens still have to work is that they still have a mortgage to pay. I want you to pay attention to that. Okay? I know there are those who will say renting, buying, blah, 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 it's all the same. Okay, whatever you want to go with that. I know there are some who will say that it's better to have to own a home so you get all kind of tax benefits. Even that's not what it used to be. So I'm not leaning to, I'm not talking about any of that. I'm not talking about trying to have a tax deduction on your tax. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about so you can have something to leave for your kids and with your estate. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if you do not own your home. And somebody would say technically you never own it because you had to keep paying taxes on it. Okay, whatever. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you do not own your home by the time that you retire, or that you would think you want to retire 65, 68, hopefully if you blessed enough sooner than that, let's just say 65, 68 years old, somewhere in there. If you do not own your home by the time you're 68, that means, and rent right now is about $1,500 a month. And that's probably on the lower side, excuse me. We're gonna use $1,500 a month. Right now, rent is $1,500 a month. We know that it's not gonna stay the same in the next 20 years that it takes for you to get to retirement age, or the next 30 years it takes for you to get to retirement age. We know it's not gonna stay the same. So that means that you're probably going to retire paying well over $2,000 a month for rent. This is why the senior citizens are not able to retire, because they have to have a place to stay. And the majority of them, their housing expenses takes up half of their social security. Now, if you've got good investments made, if you've got, pension plan, if you got 401k, if you got whatever Bitcoin, or you got some gold, and you got something set up, but the average person is highly looking forward to being able to pull 100% of their social security when they become a senior citizen. And half of their housing is when you take whatever social security, the ones that are alive and living now, whatever their social security check is, half of that is going to where they stay. So of course they feel like they're not going to be able to make. Think about somebody who may get $2,000 a month, $2,500 a month if they get, say, full social security. Think about that. You get $2,500 a month. I'm talking today's numbers, right? You get $2,500 a month in social security if you lucky, and $1,500 of that goes to your rent. That leaves you $1,000 to do everything else. Of course, you feel you're still going to want to work. That's why I'm making this video, to say, especially to those that are in their 20s, but I'm leaning more towards their 30s. You kind of know what you want. Buy you a house. Pay that thing off, simply because you do not want a mortgage payment the day that you retire from your job. And you have to be able to have vision and wisdom to see further down the road than what it is right now. And somebody may say, well, Professor X, the rates are high. We're going to wait and see if the rates come down lower. Let me speak on that, and then I'm going to let y'all go. The way that society works, if you don't know this yet, if they were to lower the rates right now from, let's say, 6 or 7%, and all of a sudden the housing market, all the rates plummeted all the way down to half of that, and you was back getting houses for 3.5%, 4%. If they did that right now, it would immediately become a buyer's market. And the sellers, knowing that the buyers are coming, are simply going to raise the price of the home. So if you thought that homes and houses was expensive now, what used to be 140,000 back in '08 is now 250,000 now. Think about that. What used to be 140,000 back in '08 is now 200, 2010, 2010. What used to be 160,000 is now 240, 250,000. What do you think is going to happen if the rates go down to 3 or 4%? Them $250,000 homes is now going to be $310,000. So if you're waiting on a rate, you can wait, but if it drops that low, you're going to pay more for the house. If you are, and this could go for any age, but I'm just specifically talking about the ones that's going to take a 30-year loan on a home and you want that thing paid off by the time you retire, you have to start now. Because if you don't, you're going to be 70 years old, 75 years old, still working to pay off your mortgage. And another thing that they do sometimes that people don't talk about, you get a house, you pay on it for 15 years, and then something comes up where you either want to remodel the home or you want some cash, and then you go and refinance the home. Let's say you got the home at 6%, and then something happened, and then you refinance the home for 3%. Well, when you refinance the home, yeah, you have a lower rate. Yeah, you might be able to get some money out of the equity or whatever, but it starts that term over again. See, that's the part people don't really talk about. When you hear you can refinance, that's what people like. You go, if you ain't got your credit right, then you had to go in and pay well lower for a car than what you should have paid. Then the car dealer gonna say, well, you can always come back in 3 years, two. We gonna say a year, but he know that's a lie. So I'm gonna tell you the truth, because the first year you just paying interest anyway. You can always come back in 3 or 4 years on a 6-year loan for a car and refinance. Well, yeah, you can, but when you refinance, you're gonna start their whole 6 years over with just at a lower rate. So a lot of senior citizens would have done that. They were halfway paying their house off, and then they refinanced and started the whole 30 years all over again to save 3% on the rate. So anyway, I'm just throwing this out there. Hopefully it helps somebody. If you anybody want to buy a house, I would say you need to go ahead and get it, because things ain't gonna get any better. Either the rates are gonna keep going up or the rates are gonna go down and the price of the house gonna go up. And you gotta find this is probably that middle spot. I mean, you can wait just maybe a little while longer, but you'll see once the rates start going low, 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 the house price is gonna start going up, 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 up. But if you're in your mid-30s and you want to retire in your mid-60s with no debt, you have to have your house paid off the day that you retire. Your house and your car has to be paid off the day that you retire. Y'all got it? Goodbye.